Where were you the night that JFK was assassinated? No, I'm lying.
You want
to talk Stanley?
Alive?
All right.
I was hanging out with my dad somewhere before I knew who he was. My dad actually is from Dallas, I believe.
He grew up there?
I believe so. I'm getting to know him more now that recently, but I believe he's from Dallas.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
So farmland, country.
I think so, but more poor, like trailer poor stuff, I think.
Oh, so no money. You didn't come from money.
No, I have uncles who created money, but who are now very wealthy, but they are also they came from nothing.
So uncles came from nothing, father came from nothing, you came from nothing.
We were lower middle class, but due to my uncle, and I have a stepfather who he was a working man, but I wouldn't say I came from nothing. I came from the working class.
Okay.
Myself.
What's the working class?
The working man, people in construction, people that have to work for wealth, or not even wealth, work to survive.
Mm-hmm. So blue collar?
Blue collar, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I came from a blue collar family. Somewhat broken, but I think everybody comes from somewhat of a broken family, especially in America. But the wealth that was created was due to my uncles, which I wasn't in that wealth, but I was able to be mentored with his presence in my life.
So you say, and I agree with this, like a lot of people, they have their issues with family. For you, how did you not use it as an excuse or victim mentality?
I think a lot of it actually came from my uncle. Anytime, a lot of kids that are raised with single moms, even though I had a stepfather, they're instilled with that victim mentality just out of having that mindset coming from that single mom. I was able to be pushed by my uncle, but a lot of times just falling on your face enough just to know, there isn't a victim mentality. So,
do you think you have to fall on your face to learn? Is that part of it?
Yeah, that's how I've learned most of most of what I've learned is from failures. Yeah.
So it's part of the journey.
100%.
So people that are, let's say they're falling on their face and they want to back down, but someone like yourself, you keep getting up. Why do you keep getting up? What's there?
I don't think there's any other way. I mean, even when you fall flat on your face, it's as long as you're alive, there's a chance. So until you're actually dead, I don't see that as comebacks. It's just surviving. So even when you fall on your face, if you're not, some guys don't have that opportunity. Some guys go to prison for the rest of their lives. They don't get a chance to keep going. Some guys, so as long as you're in society, have a heartbeat, you have a chance to come back from anything.
You keep going.
Yep. There ain't.
So I want to introduce you. This is Adam Kautman from ALK, Asphalt LLC. How did you even get into construction? Where did you start?
From a young age, I was around the working man. My stepfather, my uncles, they put me around working. So at a young age, I would say 8 years old.
8.
For my first memory, I could be off by a few years, but would help wheelbarrow, shovel, mow lawns, just start working outside. I was also able to work at my uncle's framing company.
Nice.
Just learning how to work outside and just what that meant. So right after I graduated high school, which that was a struggle, but I ended up graduating.
What do you mean it was a struggle?
My focus, I wasn't involved in high school. I didn't. My focus was in other things than school. I graduated from an alternative school. I did work through high school. My focus was growing up a lot quicker than, I didn't have a kid mentality. My focus was, I hunted, I picked up bad drinking from a young age. I worked. So yeah, going to school and fitting in with those type of kids was never my thing. I had friends, but I wasn't, my mind was already growing up before, from a young age. I wasn't really involved in the high school part of it. So when I graduated from an alternative school, I was able to still work, have some sort of a full-time job, and then immediately I went straight into construction out of high school full-time.
So once you graduated high school, let's say 17, 18, you jumped into construction full-time?
Full-time.
And when you jumped to construction, was it like HVAC, electrical, asphalt? What did you jump into?
So there was actually a period where I worked, just to throw in some small details, I worked for UPS for a small period of time in high school. You had to work part-time. There was other things minus construction that I dipped in for a little bit. But you had to work part-time for 7 years for UPS. So then I got out of that. And then I worked for a door company as a loader. And then I'm guessing this was a year period where I wasn't in the actual construction field, what I call construction, which is just fully outside work.
What's outside work?
Just being outside all day, shoveling, not working indoors.
So what's the difference between indoors work and outside work?
Just you're in the sun, especially in Arizona, you're just in the sun working. You're not in an air conditioning place with time, you don't clock in, clock out, you work till the job's done. So even though those were hard jobs, working for UPS or a door company, it doesn't compare to just shoveling all day in 115-degree weather, day after day.
When you graduated high school, you started doing outside work, and then during high school you worked at UPS. How did you gain the skills as you graduated? Like once you graduated high school, you gained skills in construction. Where did those skills come from?
So my stepfather, I worked for his crew. It's just the skills came from doing it. I always had hard work, just whatever's in me naturally. I just don't know any other way besides just I'm competitive on mainly almost everything I do. So yeah, just doing it. I think that's how you learn the skills. I was able to give opportunity by outworking other people, and I really started growing once I quit working for my stepfather, but he opened the door for me to get in that field. And that was more in the civil construction, which is road work, new construction, running equipment. And I quit working with him, I would say my early 20s, which then I started excelling in my career once I started working for outside of family.
So you graduated around, we'll say 18, and then in your 20s, you started going more into your career, your pursuit of construction.
Correct.
And what direction was that?
So the '08 crash hit. I already had one of my first daughter was born already. And I was working for different local companies in civil construction. When the '08 crash hit, it affected a lot of people. I lost my job, but I was able to get a job working on freeways. And I think I'm answering your question here. Start working on freeways for a company called Police Construction.
Nice.
I worked for a boss at the time, couldn't stand the guy, but he saw my potential, super hard on me, but he just pushed me to just different limits. And I worked there until 2018, but I was a field worker still.
Outside?
Outside, yeah. I was just able to, growing up, I was able to, with Windows 95, Windows 98, I was grounded a lot. I was able to learn computers just being inside. on a surface level, never too deep in it, but enough to do things with. So I learned GPS in construction, which kind of gave me an upper hand on some of the other construction workers. You know, a lot of them
How so?
because a lot of them are digital. Back then, they weren't really savvy with electronics. You get a construction worker with any type of electronic, and it's usually foreign to them.
It's like a caveman.
Yeah, yeah, we were pretty much a bunch of cavemen out there, and but I was able to learn it pretty quick, and it kind of helped. Just that with my work ethic was able to kind of give me an upper hand, and I was able to move up, which in 2018 there was a construction company called, if I can say the name, but it's one of our competitors, where they were starting a civil division. And there was a guy that offered me a job to be a project engineer, which is my first non-field managerial position. And
What year was this when you picked up this managerial position?
2015.
Okay.
I worked for him for roughly a few months. You know, before that I started getting symptoms. You know, I'd be lying to you if I gave you an actual time frame, but I'm just gonna guess. You know, 6 months prior, I started noticing things in the construction industry. You know, your health is never really looked upon. You just whatever you can do, get the job done. You know, push through, no matter what's happening. I started just getting, my gums were bleeding, shoulder pain, joint pain. So it kind of hit a head when I was at, I just couldn't walk anymore. There was actually, so to my current wife, I was talking on the way home, like, man, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't walk. I don't know what's going on. So I went to a hospital where they admitted me for a week, where they thought, you know, they tested me for everything but what it ended up being, just due to not knowing it. So they thought they found a mass in my leg, which was a tumor. So they were able to put me on enough steroids to mask some of those symptoms where I could somewhat walk again. I believe it was the following week when I got out. I went to go do a biopsy on the tumor, so-called, that it was supposed to be. And then they weren't able to do the biopsy once they pulled my blood, because I ended up getting diagnosed with leukemia. So, and this was, my time frames could be off a little bit, but I'm gonna guess, you know, 2 weeks, a month into my new position. Right when I got diagnosed, I didn't realize really, you know, the way I've lived my life, I never really put a lot of thought into everything. So it just happened really fast. Yeah, I was driving back from supposedly getting a biopsy. You know, your family's struggling, just financially. And then I was just told, hey, go home, pack your bags, and you're going to be in my name's Dr. Abbas. You know, you have leukemia, and pack your bags. So I went home, took my kids out to dinner, we watched a movie, and there wasn't a lot of fear. It was just sadness to be away from them. But yeah, they admitted me to the bone marrow transplant unit, where, I mean, it's really fast how it happened, but they did a bone marrow biopsy and just immediately started chemo. Heavy doses of chemo, inpatient for roughly a month. And then that's really probably the pivotal point in my life right there.
Why was that pivotal?
So being a construction worker, you know, you, especially drinking from a young age, you know, split parents from the American society. So, you know, you have, a lot of kids have stepdads, step-parents. They're not necessarily bad people, but they're not your parents. So, you know, I drank a lot, kind of masked any type of feeling with the substance. You know, I didn't have any type of healthy outlet. And just being in that hospital, if you're always busy working, staying busy, you don't have to think. You just live, and that forced me to think. There was times, you're in isolation in a way. So the chemo wasn't really the bad thing, even though there were some things, that happens from it. But it was just, I've never been sit there and like, hey, if this is the end, this is where your life would have been. Like, you've done this, 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 this. Even though I had kids, which once you have kids, that's where your job is to provide and protect them and raise them. But who are you? Things like that. And yeah, I was able to put life into perspective, even though I still didn't come out of there fully grown up yet.
So when you had leukemia 2015, a lot of people, they don't understand that type of battle, because not everybody has been through that.
Yeah.
So for you, how did you get through that battle? How did you fight through that?
I didn't know any better. Just every day you wake up, But yeah, you just do it.
So then we fast forward. How did you get started with ALK? What made you decide, let me open up my own business?
So, if you don't mind, I'll ease into that, just because there was times between that point and that point that got me to start my own business. So in 2018, I left. I followed a great boss. He was the operations manager at the time. When you work for different construction companies, the working man, I feel, is always gets the shaft of a lot of the stuff. The middle class.
Mm-hmm. How so?
They're grinding every day. I know everybody somewhat that's successful grinds, but they're doing it. They just work. There's not much thought into personal health. There's not much thought into anything but work. So a lot of times they come from, the bottom. They come from broken families, and in construction specifically is what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So just working for different companies, especially coming from those positions, I've never agreed fully. But there's some things I've learned. There's a middle ground for everything, but I don't think there has been a company to actually care for the working man like us. I see people have mirrored some of our values to try to pretend like they've always done that, but they didn't before, because I've worked at those places.
With you at your company, how do you show that you care for the people that work for you?
So at first I thought you can just do it only in what you pay them, but that's not necessarily true, because when you come from that mindset, you don't know how to manage money. You don't know. So that's why most people who win the lottery end up broke, because you just
70%, yeah.
Because you just get all this money, and then everybody comes at you, and you're trying to giving everybody, and then here you are broke at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to do it in trying to create leadership, and then also really focusing on personal health, because no one can be successful if they don't care for themselves.
Right.
So there's these one-offs, like, these billionaires that are just a different level of thinking, that some of them sacrifice themselves. You can see it in how they look, but those are extremely rare people. But for the most part, to get a mass population, it starts with yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of no one else. So to start showing them, I did it organically, but by example, and then providing health benefits to them to where they can't. There's a people argue about this. The country has us divided, but the way it's currently set up, it keeps people poor, because if you are on the lower end, you get free health care. Mm-hmm. I believe in free health care under the right circumstance, as long as it's not abused and political based. But the working man technically pays a lot of money a week to give somewhat of poor health care. Insurance companies are even corrupt, on top of our political system. So I think you give it to them by promoting personal health and giving them health care so they can start seeing things in a different lens.
So if somebody wanted to work for your company, for example, what do they have to look forward to working with you at ALK compared to somebody else?
A company that cares about them. A culture that's different from other construction companies. That we pour back into them what they pour into us. So instead of it just being one-sided and wring them out and throw them to the wolves, like be a part of an actual company that is changing the industry from what I see. Even though we're a small construction company, there's a lot of these bad actors that now seem to think differently. Mm-hmm. So
you build them up so they can face the wolves.
Correct.
Yeah. So they can go out there.
I mean, that's society. Mm-hmm. That's just America's been able to paint it in a different picture, but they're all still out there. They just do it in different ways.
So now I want to ask you, why did you start ALK? What led up to you deciding, you know what, I want to be a business owner. I want to take that risk.
I got tired of working for companies that are against everything I just explained, and I worked for enough where I wanted to be able to make that decision. I've always had trouble working for people. I've had trouble listening to people that I don't really respect. If I do respect specific people, I'll listen to their advice, but I've always had issue with that from, I think I was just born that way. So yeah, I wanted to decide my own future and then be able to back up what I speak, to be able to, if I feel this way, I don't want to have an opinion from the nosebleeds. I want to do it, and so that's why I started it. Created a good place for the working man to work.
What's something, because you've been in business now since 2021, that's 4 years, you're going on 5. In those beginning 2 years, what adversity did you face? Setbacks, roadblocks. How did you get through that?
So how ALK started, the biggest obstacle or adversity is cash flow. Number one is cash flow. That's the fuel for everything that goes. That's an ongoing struggle, especially starting from nothing. And the other one would probably be just people management, making sure you have the right, you can get all the work in the world, you can find a way to keep people busy as long as the work's there. But if you don't have the right people, you're wasting your time. Mm-hmm. If you're a one-person company, that's easy. But if you start getting into at one time I was at 70 people. So within,
wow.
And I could be off on some of these ranges, but say within a year and a half, 2 years, I was at 70 people. Mm-hmm. And starting with nothing. So at the moment, I had a lot of wishful thinking, and I thought the best in took everything at face value from specific people. Like, you can't just plug and play people in leadership positions. You have to make sure you have the right leaders in place.
How do you know now? Like, looking back, now you have to have the right leaders. What do you look for to decide this person, they should be a leader? What are you looking for?
Really, I'm listening to my gut, because everything that my gut told me so far has been true. So it's going against what my gut's saying and listening to other people that don't, and I can't point down. I feel like I have a good way, even though I've been fooled by some, but I have a good way of understanding people's true intentions by noticing their actions. Mm-hmm. If that answers that question.
So you rely, over time you've realized, let me trust my instincts, let me trust my gut. You're seeing the actions of people, and that's what makes you decide this person should be a leader or maybe not.
Correct.
Okay.
Because anybody can come to this table with us and tell us what they want, but it's what they do, and
That's right.
And even when other people disagree with me, it's having the patience. Just your gut. I mean, it's pretty much right every time. So yeah, it's just if I can have the people around at the top level, teaching them to understand that as well.
Patience is a big thing. You just mentioned that. How do you find patience running a business, especially when you have more than 10 employees? Where does the patience come in?
Having a wife and kids, probably. But joking aside, I mean, that term patience is virtue is spot on. You have to have patience. I did not have patience. I still don't have patience, but I've learned to have it while not having it. Mm-hmm. So learning without patience, you're just reacting. So I think I've just developed it by
being in the fire?
By being in the fire and learning healthy outlets to deal with that, any type of, having a healthy outlet for sure. And when I say healthy outlet, I picked up running in place of drinking. So just having some sort of outlet to deal with all that really helps with your patience.
So you mentioned running, and we spoke about it before. You're running over like 10 miles. You're doing big races.
Oh yeah, I've done. I've tried a 100-miler, but a few 50-milers. I've been unsuccessful on a few really hard 50-milers, but yeah, I've 50Ks. Mm-hmm. I recently ran Ragnar, but just something to get that stress out and competitiveness and things like that. So yeah.
So it seems like I'm seeing a personality trait here. You just keep going, and you said you didn't finish some races, but you're still going after these races.
Yeah.
So that's just built into you.
Yeah, because you focus on your failures more. There's not really, I've had trouble with, I've never been able to like celebrate. Mm-hmm. When I'm in a room, people celebrating, I feel like, what are we doing? Like, even though people can look at that badly, but it's not in me to celebrate.
Even if you, let's say for ALK, what's an accomplishment, like a big accomplishment you've had with ALK, something you're proud of?
The main thing to point out was just we're still here even after filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. We're still going. Mm-hmm. Like that. For the people to stay here and still roll with us, that's been my biggest success, and still to be able to provide for the people working here and all of our families.
With your younger self, let's say you'd go back in time when you started the business, what's one thing you tell yourself, look out for this or do this differently?
Without right hooking him, I'd probably, just quit worrying about other people. That's probably the number one thing.
So instead of worrying about other people, what would you put your focus on? What would you tell him?
Just start going. Quit thinking so much. Mm-hmm. So I would put my focus on just where I am now. Just start putting your focus on things to push you forward and not things that hold you back.
And someone, let's say they want to join the construction industry, they just got out of high school, like yourself, and maybe they went to an alternative school as well. Would you tell them to join the trade, the construction trade? Yeah,
and start at the bottom. Like, you're never going to understand what it means to be at the bottom unless you're there. So yeah, start. Don't try to act like you're something you're not. So you grab a shovel, start shoveling, and then with any business, you got to have contacts, you got to have experience, you got to have respect, you got to have everything. So just go slow and do it the right way, and you'll be unstoppable if you just stick with it.
Do you believe that they have to earn it?
We all do. Because if you don't do it and you don't know what it is, no one's going to look at you with especially in the construction world, the guys in the field will never respect you, and you're leading group of men. I mean, that came from bad upbringings, that came from hard upbringings. They can see right through anybody pretending not to be. So yeah, in order to get respect, yeah, I feel like you have to earn it in the construction industry.
And a young man, let's say they earned their way. You know, they put the time in. They started from the bottom. What advice would you tell them if they decided one day they want to open a business? When do you think it's right?
When they have their group of contacts, and I don't know how to even give them that, like, once you know who to call for almost every specific situation, then it's time. So because not one person can know everything. You gotta have a contact for everything. So I would say once you've developed your group of contacts in that specific, if it's construction in that world, then yeah, I think that's when it's time for people to go.
So for you have your group of contacts. How did you develop that?
Just by working, just by years of experience about, running into problems, and then, you're talking to other people and, hey, call this place, and before you know it, you just by experience, just by, doing it and running into issues and networking.
Being out there.
Yep.
It's the only way.
Yep.
Right.
And that's probably my biggest weakness currently here is my focus has been running the business, so my network is stuck where it's at. So it's networking, knowing people is everything. Because you can do great work, but if no one knows you outside of who already knows you, then you can't expand.
Yeah.
So that's where we're currently at.
So it's not just about what you know, it's a saying who you know.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
I've recently got into some specific rooms, and you start looking at these major leadership roles, and that makes complete sense. Like, it's some of these people, it's who you know. So yeah, that's huge.
Contacts is very important.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you and I, we know each other from the merchant cash advance industry. You were introduced to me by a broker, and I'm a funder. When you first took a merchant cash advance, what was it used for?
So when I first started, before I met you, it was used to carry payroll, to bridge that gap between when we got paid and to keep going. And when I first got it, I was able to successfully pay them back.
When you say bridge the gap, do you mean like invoices, they were slow to come, and pay you to pay your guys? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, just, you always, in the perfect world, you get paid within 30 days, and, it's like an automatic, you do the work, you get paid for your work. But getting paid is one of the hardest things to do in our field. It's, there's certain customers that do pay well, but just the honest truth of it, especially in today, as of today, it's a huge struggle to get paid.
So you use the merchant cash advance so you can pay your guys and they keep coming to the job?
Correct.
Okay.
Keep the company going while you're doing more work to produce more revenue to keep paying for everything. So
it's good for your cash flow?
Correct.
Okay.
Even though in hindsight, especially those first ones, sometimes you should see it as a sign to slow down.
What do you mean?
Like, so say you're, because this is where partially I went wrong, where everybody wants to grow, but sometimes if it's not organically, and if you don't have say you have a specific plan, and it doesn't happen, what are you going to do? Like, to have these different thought processes behind it. Where at the time I was just going so fast, and I'm talking at the first one specifically. Fortunately, I was able to pay it off. And yes, I think it's a good way to bridge gaps in cash flow, as long as you know where you have a plan for how you're going to pay it off.
Right.
There's an actual plan. Because a lot of guys, inexperienced business owners, including myself, that it's just a quick, if you don't have thought process behind it, it's a quick Band-Aid for a bigger problem.
So only take a merchant cash advance if you have a plan implemented to whether it's bridge a gap, increase revenue, and you know that you can pay it back. Don't just take it just because it's being offered.
Correct.
Okay.
Because sometimes there's good and bad in everything. But the way I first found out about them is you get these texts, you get these calls, these emails, and it's you know, and you're trying to decide where payroll is coming from next. You're trying to get paid. You know, you're in these moments of weakness, even though you should have the self-control. I do now, but you know, it's not a new business owner. You're just trying to survive every week. Mm-hmm. So you get these, and a lot of times they're not true, and then you got to slow down and do research, understand who you're talking to, and yeah, do not move fast is one of the things I would say, and know what you're signing. So, yeah.
There's two questions I have for you. The first one is, would you tell a business owner who's looking to expand, whether equipment-wise, fill in an invoice that hasn't come in yet so they can make payroll, would you tell them to take a merchant cash advance if there was a reason behind it, a purpose?
Only if he had a specific plan on how to pay it off, and if he was able to do it short term. Because and it depends where he is on his business. It depends how profitable he is. If his profits are low, he's not going to realistically be able to pay it off.
Right.
If his profits are good, there's got to be a plan. Mm-hmm. So no, if he doesn't have a plan. Yes, if he has a plan and he works with someone, for example, like you, which I feel is rare in the MCA lending field, to where they're actually going to go through and they both fully understand on how it's going to be paid off. Mm-hmm. Instead of just, hey, here's, you know, $100,000, sign this paper, all your problems and worries are gone. Yeah. And that's not reality. All that is just a quick fix for a deeper problem. Mm-hmm. So yes, if he's with the right person and has a plan to pay it off. No for everything else.
So now my second question is, what's something in the merchant cash advance industry that you don't like?
The scam artists. At that level, you're dealing with psychopathic scam. I mean, the way they think, they don't care if someone loses everything. There's no care. It's just strictly about the commission, and they will lie and just the scams. Mm-hmm. I feel like they prey on those scam artists prey on the new business owner that just doesn't know yet. Similar to a youth and a payday loan. You know, when you're a young kid, a lot of kids turn to that because, again, it's like a quick fix to a long-term solution or to a long-term problem. Mm-hmm. So the bad, like everything, there's good and bad in everywhere, but there seems to be some really bad in the MCAs that I've seen, which is why there's movies about it. There's really famous movies, but yeah, it's just, they're very smart people, but they're not good people. Mm-hmm. So
what would you like to see change in the merchant cash advance industry, especially with these guys specifically that are just going around scamming, and a lot of them don't have to face any repercussions?
I think how to speak on this one. Just them having to face reality, just get them out of there. I don't know how that's going to happen because a lot of these guys are so deep into money, they're protected. Mm-hmm. And I guess just bringing awareness to it and exposing these guys, and I don't know how that is going to happen, but I mean, it has to happen because corporate America makes it really hard for the working man to get any type of money. So unless used correctly, merchant MCAs can be used for that, but it's just been abused so bad that it's really hard to trust anything over there. Mm-hmm. But just get those people out somehow. Someone
that's a new business owner, and they receive a call about a merchant cash advance, what advice would you give them to kind of figure out, is this person legit? Is he actually trying to help me? or is he just trying to scam me? What advice would you give that new business owner receiving that call?
Research them. If you live close, go meet them face to face and just do your research. Like, know who you're talking to, and if they're trying to rush you, hang up. Just don't even waste your time. No matter how much they say they're trying to help you or care for you, if they're trying to speed things up, just hang up and just do your research. And if possible, meet them face to face, so there's some sort of, I mean, someone's giving you a large amount of money, the least you can do is meet them, you know, as the business owner side, you know who you're talking to. I feel like that's what's separated our relationship. You know, you didn't have to meet me. We met face to face. So now we know who we're dealing with. So we're dealing with people instead of commissions only. So I think that's what separates it.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
For you, the last thing I want to know about you and ALK Asphalt, what's your reasoning for running this company? What's the purpose of ALK? Where are you going with it?
So it's evolved over time. People could take this the wrong way, but just change as much as I can for the good. Once the company's established, I'm still working at that, just to be able to continue to help. You know, I feel like our world's in a bad place, but you can't help everyone, so you just make change by action. And I think Americans, we have a lot of opinions, so just make good change with action and show it with the company. You know, outside of that, get involved in things. But there is a huge problem currently with corporations and American people. So just continue to fight back with good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with ALK, in the direction that you're going, how are you fighting back with good?
It's really hard. At the moment, they are fiercely and at a rapid pace taking over the market. Just us existing, I feel like, fights back, because that's the only way to do it at the moment. They have unlimited amounts of money, buying jobs, driving prices down, buying up companies, giving the amounts they're giving some of these people are out of this world to sell.
What do you mean amounts? Like corporations giving money to business owners?
To buy out. And I have friends that have done it, and I'm not speaking badly of them, but I don't roll that way. Yeah, I mean, once corporations own all the companies, it's total control. So there's very few family-owned companies in my field, and you know, I don't. If I'm right or if I'm wrong, I don't feel it's right. So I think just by us existing fights back, because there's no other way to do it.
Keep American businesses with American family and business owners.
Yep.
Yeah.
And being able to take care of the working man, because you can say it, you can spin it however you want to spin it, but unless you can actually give to the workers, you know, your Walmart, you know, you're paying people bottom dollar, no benefits, so that the people on top can, you know, get their profits, which profits are important. We all got to make our money for what we put into, but I don't believe in that model. I don't believe in the corporation model.
You believe in the family business model?
Correct.
Nice.
Where everybody can benefit. And I don't want that to get misunderstood, but I do think people should be rewarded for what they put into it. You know, if you put more into something, if you hold more stress, there's a dollar amount to that. But it shouldn't be so lopsided like it currently is.
Balance. Yeah, brother. Adam Kautman, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Heck yeah.